Hi, it's Lisa Cuneo. Welcome to my scrapbook table. Today I am taking part in the Iron Crafter Challenge and we are using sequins. And this layout is also for the November class session for Memories, the Making of Me. And I'll tell you more about each of those as we go on. So the challenge for the Iron Crafter Challenge this month is sequins. And I am using a few items I bought recently. They are called Vintage Orchard from 49 and Market. I have just a few papers, but then I bought the rub-ons and some acetate embellishments. And I thought I would see what I could do with just those few things in my stash rather than buying the whole collection. So I have a scrap here of a wood grain, and I am using it to create a frame around this acetate piece that came in the package of embellishments. And it's got a little image on it of like a tree and a branch and some things like that. And I didn't have the right shape or die or anything to make a shaker element. So I decided to just wing it and see what I could do. And I decided I was just going to, I tore this scrap of wood grain down the middle, inked the edges, and I am just gluing it on top of where my dimensional adhesive is to create a frame for my shaker element. And that's where I'm going to use my sequins. I thought about doing some sort of stitching and adding sequins to the veins of leaves or something that way. And then I got the idea to make this shaker element instead. I like the shaker element. I don't like making shaker elements. I always struggle. And I probably cut out about 20 minutes of struggle and mess that I made here. But in the end, I think it turned out nicely. My sequins and the other things in my shaker there are from Picket Fence Studios as well as Pink Fresh Studios. There, I'm trying to cover up that glare as much as I can. So here are the 4 photos I'm using, and they were taken in October, so it is definitely the fall season. But I was in Alabama, and as I put in my journaling, fall in Alabama is very different than fall in Northeast Ohio. And I don't really have many fall pictures the last couple of years in Northeast Ohio. So I decided to use this fall material on these Alabama pictures, even though they don't look very fall-ish. So now I'm pulling out the rub-ons so I can see the colors represented, and I choose the inks that I'm going to use to create a bit of a mixed media background. So I'm using Antique Linen, Peeled Paint, Vintage Photo, Crackling Campfire, and Fired Brick. And I just use a blending brush to put a little halo around where my photos are going to be. And for now, I leave out part of it, but you'll see in a minute that I end up going back in later and adding a little bit more. I used just used a pencil to draw around where my photos would be, because there's no use doing a bunch of stamping or inking beneath the photos. This is 2 sets that I've just combined into one box. They're old Stampin' Up! Sets. I do not know what they are called. I bought them at Hollow's Paper Craft store in Brunswick, Ohio. If you are ever traveling through there if you go through Ohio on I-76, you'll be near there. It's not even too far from the turnpike, so it would definitely be worth a stop. They have used stamps. They have tons of paper. I usually buy my card making paper there. I don't usually buy my scrapbooking paper there because while they do have a special section labeled acid free, I don't know how well it stays sorted because people could easily put the paper back in the wrong place in the store. But I buy all my card making paper, cardstock, and envelopes there. And last summer, I was able to buy a few old Stampin' Up! Sets there that work nicely for just creating kind of a shabby mixed media-y look on my pages. And I randomly stamped these. I really didn't think too much about it. I just made sure to put a variety in all around the page. And that's about all I did. I actually put this little one just on my finger. I didn't have another block at my table, but that was tiny enough. And when I'm doing this sort of stamping, I'm not after precise, good coverage. It doesn't matter to me if they're a little bit crooked. I just kind of stamp to make a collage-y type background. Which is kind of hard for me to let go of the need to have everything be straight. So I've come a long way in that area. So I have these 4 photos. I have matted them in a pale green that coordinates with the colors in the collection. And now I pull out the rub-ons because that's where the collection comes in first. And I cut these out. I end up using several. I don't have you watch it all because this video would have been really long. I thought this project would be quick and simple and I would be done in about an hour. And that's not how it turned out. It's 1 a.m. and I'm doing my voiceover. So yeah, it took a long time. But I'm happy with it, so I guess it's worth it. So now I've done some rub-ons, and this is where I decide I need a little bit of ink down there below where that shaker element will sit. So I came back in with the antique linen, and then I added a few more stamps. And then I brought in this word delight and stamped it in the campfire, crackling campfire ink, first and second generation in a few different places. And I hadn't decided yet whether I was going to have the shaker right under the picture or move it down a bit. I end up moving it down a bit. If you've watched my videos lately, you've seen this autumn set from Close to My Heart that I've had for a long time. I bought it used at a sale I was at. And I decided to take some different words from here. Autumn Blessings is my title. Thankful for you and simply enjoy these moments. And that's what I opted to use black. Long ago when I was learning to make cards and things, somebody said if you feel like your layout or your card needs something, add black. And sometimes that really does help me feel like something's finished. And so I added some black in various places around this layout. And now I'm creating a smaller page that I can back with a dark brown border all around it. So the class Memories and Me is hosted by Janet Fritz and MK Gunn. It's been all this year. We have November and December to go, but each month has a theme to help you think about stories from your life or things that you want to record. And this month is quite naturally for the US about being thankful. That's what I think of in November. Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday, and so I am thankful for these 3 little girls. and I want them to know that. So that's who I chose to scrapbook about for this class. I'm grabbing my ruler in an effort to make my writing a little straighter. And I just wrote, fall is very different in Alabama than it is in Ohio. The weather, it was in the 80s and sunny, but the leaves are starting to turn just a bit. And I put the name of the park we were at and the date. And that is just about all. There are some still shots coming up. I will have information in the description box below about the Memories and Me class, as well as the Iron Crafter Challenge hosted by Tara, who is the paper snob here on YouTube. I hope you'll check out their channels. I hope you get to craft something soon. And thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate your being here and watching my video. Thanks. Bye.